Checking 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I'm recording from now on. Uday, when I cycled past you, what were you thinking about? You were sitting at a coffee shop. You had a coffee to one side of you. What were you considering?
To be honest, I was just thinking about my weekend and the week I had. Just contemplating, yeah.
Would you give it like an 8 out of 10 week, the week that you've just had?
Probably a 7.
A 7? That's pretty good.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
Yeah, intense, but it was a good week. Yeah.
What does intense mean for you?
Is when it makes me question and wonder about the broader things in life.
So if you have the ability to think and have time to contemplate the big things, then what kind of environment are you in when you do that?
I work in climate strategy, climate change strategy.
Climate change strategy.
Yeah, for a financial institution. I come from a climate science background,
So
engineering and then climate science, and then I thought, why not work for a global bank? Because I knew they would play a big role in it.
Is it an easy fit?
No, definitely not. 100% not. But it's been a really good learning experience, I think. I've quite enjoyed it, yeah. And it makes me think of the bigger, broader things. And the problem in hand, I suppose, is quite complex. And I come from India, and the institution I work for, even though it's based here, it's got quite a bit of money where the problem needs to be solved. So trying to focus on that rather than do I fit in.
Okay, that's interesting. So you've got something to worry away at. What were you focusing on in the last week?
The last week, I work in strategy, so we do a lot of work on how do we think about the whole thing, what does it mean for us, but also how do we communicate it to the world. Of course, we live in strange times politically, and the geopolitics is a big part of, really affects the institution I work for. So I suppose when I sit and think about that for work, it also makes me think about what kind of role do I want to play in this world and so and so. And I've also realized, well, I have one lifetime. I have to be practical and fit into the way the world works and kind of put my idealism aside at times. So it's always, I think, fighting for that fine balance of does this fit into my values and so and so, but am I also making most of the opportunity I have in hand to make an impact?
You mentioned idealism there. Would you say that you are an idealist at heart?
Definitely, yeah.
And where does that come from? How is that fired, as it were? Is it something that you've always held very close? Is it something that's developed over time?
Family. Comes from family.
Family.
I think these are very much family values that I appreciate, and I feel like the older I get, I'm appreciating them more. I come from India, South India. Both my mom and dad's side have quite a rural background. They were farmers all along, and of course they worked very hard for me to have a good education and live in a place like London. I've had family here, which is easy to make the transition, but
The values that you speak of, give us a couple of examples of the kind of things you're talking about.
Treat people well, treat everyone equally, with respect. And on top of that, try and do the right thing, which I know is a very vague thing to say, but just do right by people has been the core fundamental thing. And I feel like I was giving more context for my background because with all the education I got and wanted to get, I thought I was kind of running away from home to build a new life here because culturally people are more open, and for me it worked better than the environment I grew up in. But now that I'm here, I feel like it's all quite circular. A lot of my work now involves nature and agriculture and farming.
That's interesting.
And that's what excites me the most. And I feel like, of course, when you leave home, you feel guilty. And as part of me finding my purpose or redefining my purpose as I do my work has been connecting back to where I come from and realizing that actually I can do a lot more for home, working on the thing I'm working on here.
You said running away from home, but you also said feeling guilty. Did you want to leave home? Did you have a drive to, I want to go out and explore the world? and that's where the guilt comes from, or were you like searching for freedom? Did you feel that where you were would not give you that freedom?
I'm a very curious person, so I think the biggest driver has been, I want to go see the world. I want to be around a lot more people like me. I wouldn't say it was necessarily a fight for freedom, because my parents give me a lot of independence and freedom of expression, which I really appreciate, and it's not so common for kids where I come from. But it's been more the curiosity, I think. I just want to learn more, see more. And a city like London, I feel like I get that. Yeah, there's a lot more freedom of expression, but also, like I said, a lot more like-minded people. And I think you need to bring people together to do cool things. Yeah.
Would you mind us just moving around the corner? Because I know that those builders up there have just started a machine that's going to be quite noisy.
Yeah. Can you pause it?
No, we'll just chat as we walk. Are you the first generation of your family to make such a move as this?
No. My uncle was the first. He moved to the UK, I think, about 30 plus years ago. They basically grew up in poverty, so for him it was a different battle, I suppose. Came here, became a doctor, married a Brit, settled down.
This is your uncle?
Yeah, my mom's brother. And yeah, he's been, I suppose, someone to look up to and be like, oh, this is possible.
So he was a trailblazer in your family. So it wasn't completely unknown for someone to make that big step. Your siblings?
No, I'm the only child, which comes with its own, yeah. I suppose that's also a big element of the guilt I was talking about, right? Like moving away from home, because you do want to, I'm far away from my mom and dad, and I'm the only child, yeah.
Do you think they were conflicted in waving you goodbye and pushing you off, or do you think they were very happy to push you off?
Oh, very conflicted.
Very.
Happy, but also, yeah, they've been sad all along, yeah. I moved when I was 17 for undergrad, so I've been here just over 10 years now. And I feel like each time I go back, you still feel that pain in some sense, yeah.
It's a difficult one, that. Are there time? Do you give time to think about home? Do you try and make sure that stays part of your daily life in some ways?
Definitely, yeah. I speak to them every day.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, and I like to stay connected. Of course, as you get older, you also realize that you need some distance to find yourself, get that self-sufficiency. But I've been more about like trying to work on that myself, rather than distancing them to work on that, if that makes sense. So I still like to stay connected. I still like to keep them in the loop of what's happening and vice versa. I feel like that's my way of staying connected. But sometimes doing that too much or in the wrong or different way can lead to expectations, a lot of weight on your shoulder. But I've been getting much better at navigating it, and I still go home once or twice a year. So I still definitely try and get that in-person time.
How, as an only child, it was brave of you, first of all, to leave home. It was brave of you to go far away. I'm assuming also that as an only child, you're quite used to being self-sufficient.
Yeah. I was always quite used to that, and I only did my schooling in a big city for high school, so just the 2 years before I came here, and I was in quite a semi-urban / borderline rural town in India until the age of 14. So the education system wasn't so great, and so on. So I was quite had to be independent, had to be self-sufficient, had to be borderline self-taught, and then ask for help when needed. Yeah.
Since you've been here, how has your understanding of this place changed the longer you've been here?
It definitely has. Then again, I was in Birmingham before, from undergrad for 3 years.
Another big city?
Another big city, and my family lived in a town near Cambridge, in a small city near Cambridge. I suppose London is just so different to them, right? And moving through them they're so different from each other. But I think London has its charm. It feels a lot more international, like the city I'm from, Bangalore. I mean, it's not nowhere near as international as London, but I feel like it's quite a global city. But it does feel like home, I think. There's no part of me that doesn't want to see more of it. I wanna. Yeah, I'm actually quite. It excites me to keep getting to know it better, but I also feel like I would never be like, oh, I get it. Yeah.
That's kind of nice. Do you reckon you're ever going to get to a point where you say I'm a Londoner? Do you already feel I'm a Londoner?
I think I'm getting there. Yeah. I do think I would get to a point where I feel that, and I think I have. Again, the field I'm in, and in general, I think London is leading the whole climate action space.
Well, that's interesting.
I would
Why do you
so.
say that?
I mean, I did my master's here and I was quite into the research element of it. And I suppose through my interactions there, I realized, okay, the city is kind of leading the charge on this whole agenda. Why do I say that? I think it's a good balance of, like, you need the thinkers, and I feel like London has good talent in general, and you need the global reach, which I feel like the financial services and legal services sector here has. And on top of that, you need regulation and politicians that want to drive it. These big institutions aren't really going to do much themselves, and I feel like there always needs to be that regulatory pressure.
I'm assuming it's also one of those things where if you feel you're part of something important, and so there's not really a day, even though this is the weekend and you're relaxing, there's probably not really a day when you completely switch off from it.
No, definitely not. I suppose it took me a while to connect and understand why I like working in this, but like I said, I grew up in like farmland, and my dad used to take me to the farms every day, and both my sides of the family they have it in their blood of some sense. And I saw the real impact back then, even though I couldn't comprehend what was happening, like raining heavily in the wrong season, or just soil drying up, and the pesticides and fertilizers doing their bits, and just ruining crops and all of that. But now here, I feel like that really helps, that connection. It kind of makes me not want to give up, because I know the real impact. I don't have to read about it. And
that's
yeah.
it. So you think of the farming and the farmers you know back in India, and that's very much part of the foundation of the effect of what you're talking about. It's not a remote, abstract thing. But the thing about farming is there's a certain fatalism to it. There always has been. Farming is down to the elements. It's down to a lot of luck. It's down to market prices. There must also be that kind of philosophy as part of the way that you think about the land and how we work the land. It's not as easy as if you get it right, everything's hunky-dory.
Exactly. And unlike farmers, say, in England or Europe, farmers in countries where there's a lot more soil and agriculture actually happening, they're quite helpless. You're talking about factors that could affect anyone, but I'm saying they would affect more in areas like this, because they're absolutely helpless. They don't have the education, they don't have the awareness. So I feel like this has to be a systemic issue to solve and address, not at the root level. And like you said, all these factors are in play, but we have technology. We've come a long way. Can be used for the right thing, I feel. And I'm thinking about the farmers, but more so, the more I get into my work and the science, all you realize is it's about the soil. It's about nature and soil and letting it do its natural thing while we live our lives without, I suppose, messing those cycles up too much. I just love that interconnection. Yeah.
Do you have those kind of conversations with your parents, with your mum and your dad? You're here in London doing the brain work. They're there, still connected to the land. Are they interested in what you're doing? Do they see the connection?
They do, yeah, absolutely. It's so funny when I tell them, oh, I read about this, and my mom or dad would joke about how, like, I've known that from the age of 5.
Oh, really?
Did you really have to go this far and read? That's how we used to farm. That's how we used to do it. And it's fascinating. Like, sometimes I hear, like, multi-million dollar deals being done on someone selling this idea that I know that that was like common practice for my granddad. Yeah, it's quite, it's a bit funny at times, yeah.
Could you see yourself ever just going back and doing what they do and leaving this kind of world behind and just going back to the land? Or is that never part of the life that you see for yourself?
I think I can do both. I don't think I'd want to give up this or give up that. I will get a lot of farmland inherited, and for us it's very interestingly been quite communal farming.
So just explain communal farming, because in this country for many centuries now, starting with enclosure and all, private farmland is kind of how ownership is a central part of the farming process. What does communal farming mean and where you come from?
So my dad's side, they had a lot of land, let's put it that way, for generations. And how it works is, say there's 50 acres of land, you kind of split it into multiple crops and kind of zone them out. And each zone, we've been working with like different families that are from these villages for generations.
So they're like tenant farmers on your land?
Exactly, yeah. We kind of do the thinking, but they do the actual work. But it's not like I wouldn't say it's like a employer-employee relationship. It goes a bit beyond. And I've kind of been brought up with that in the sense, even now when I go back and all these people, I know them. I know who they are. I've known their father, mother, and then their child. Yeah, kind of. And a lot of them have left big cities. And recently I've been seeing them coming back and realizing that actually this is beautiful work, but there's still not too much money in it. But I definitely would want to, I think, apply my learnings. I feel like irrespective of what I do in London with my work, you wouldn't have the same impact as me trying to do something that my family have held for so long and connects to so many villages like home in India.
That's interesting. So actually you are very connected to back home because your future is part of that too. It's not just like your parents have a farm and you have your life here, but you have a future at some points when your parents either are no longer able to do it or have passed on. It will come to you, and you will have that responsibility.
Exactly, yeah. From both sides, I think, yeah.
That relationship you talked about in terms of it going beyond employer-employee, just explain that a bit more. Is it like, in a simplistic sense, a paternalistic thing, or is it more a communal thing?
I'd say it's a bit more communal thing. It's kind of like incentivized. A few families for generations are just better with certain crops or others, so the mutual understanding, they all work together quite well, and things are quite seasonal, so people step in and out, but it's more like you do the thinking, the R&D, and it's incentivized in the sense they do get a daily wage that comes with it, but most profits are kept by them, so they incentivize to kind of just, I suppose, have higher fertility rates or whatever not, and then they get the profits. But of course the risk comes in us handling the losses, so we're kind of taking the market dynamic away from them. But of course my dad hasn't been able to do that so well, because in general farming's gone down, especially in countries like India, unless you have enough money or make it large scale and kind of machinize everything. So yeah, I know that there are also people making it work that way, with a bit more thinking on the soil and how it works.
It's interesting that there's a profit built into the people who work on the land, on your family's land, so they can change their circumstances if they wish or if they're able to. But I'm assuming there's a certain amount of tradition built into the whole system too. Like, it is the way it is. And it's not going to change in a revolutionary way socially.
No, I wouldn't think so, yeah.
Would you want it? I mean, would you want to engender any kind of change at any point in the future?
I think so, but I think it would be marginal because I feel like my parents in general are people that maybe think about others too much. They're always giving. So the way they've gone about interacting with these people and so on, so there's a lot of respect. And when I said I was running away from India, I mean, I suppose you see it everywhere in the world, but just the way the rich or relatively wealthier people treat the relatively more unfortunate is horrible. But another big family value I've got from my grandparents and my parents is that, again, that respect, that it doesn't matter who they are, it's respect has to be equal. So I know that respect already stands, and there is no form of exploitation. The more I see of the world, the more I appreciate the way they've been going about it. So again, like I said, it would be marginal, and probably the marginal gains would come from helping them make more money, but I don't think I could do much more in the cultural or the respect aspect.
Do you? I mean, we're in Shoreditch at the moment. You're at a coffee shop. You said, I think, just before we were recording that you're going to go to the gym. What kind of environments do you put yourself in to kind of relax and ground yourself and give you the space to think?
One, I think, is being around the right people. I've recently, by recently I mean 2-3 years, with the help of therapy and everything, I've been a bit more selective about who I give my energy and how I give it. I suppose for me it's always what comes on top is the people. And then, the gym, riding my bike, my walks, my morning coffees.
So almost keep it quite present. You mentioned therapy. Was that something you sought out for a particular reason, or was that just you just thought, I'll just give this a shot and see what happens? Add this to the armory of my lifestyle.
I think the uncle I said that moved to the UK, he works in mental health. He works in autism. So growing up, fortunately, mental health has been a dinner table conversation.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
unusual.
Yeah, very unusual. But my mum had been through a form of depression around the time I was born. So I think, which made it a bit more important to talk about, especially for Indian parents from the backgrounds they're from. It's very unusual, but they're very open to it. And I suppose as I got older and with all this social mobility comes a lot of change. And
are you talking about yourself or
myself,
your family in general?
Myself, yeah. In this case, yeah. There's been a lot of moving from one thing to the other, and I suppose you can just get lost at times. So it's been a good way, and I've been in some form of counselling or the other for the past maybe over a decade, but I've been doing proper therapy for the past 4 years. It's been really nice to understand what are these values, how do I connect to them, what's important, what's not important, but also I think, it's a very fast-changing world, and I feel like you really got to dig deep to know what you want, and I think it's really helped there, and just I think helps with the work, helps with the connections with people.
Has it relaxed your view of what's what and how you feel about the world, or has it strengthened and tightened it up in terms of the values that you hold? Because I suppose it depends on. We've got a small group of children with a microphone near us. Yeah. That's fine. You carry on doing your thing.
I think it's strengthened it a bit. But also it's sometimes easy to overanalyze things, I feel, with that context. Trying to find that balance. Yeah. But it's helped me, I think, to trust myself a bit more.
Oh, that's interesting. So you trusting yourself is part of it.
Yeah.
That's an interesting thought, to trust oneself. I don't know why I would not expect that.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, kudos to my therapist, I suppose. Recently, he's been making me focus on that a lot. I suppose I'm quite good at like asking for help. I speak to my best mate who lives in New York every day. I speak to my parents every day. And it's sometimes easy to get lost in these, opinions. And I suppose growing up the way I did, your family have a lot of opinions on how you live and so on. So,
Is this a very voluble family where everyone's chipping in and
everyone has a say.
Yeah.
And not just my parents, like a family of 20, 30 have a say. I suppose it's still realizing that it's still very valuable context. You need to take what you need to take from it, and then step into your shoes and trust yourself.
Is the intensity of a family in India, is it something to be celebrated? Now that you're here in a different culture where families are different, are you thinking, God, do you know what? I love the fact that my family in India are just full of ideas and everyone's involved.
Yeah, I do. I mean, at work and, just in general on the internet, also everywhere I see there's a lot of things happening to build community. There's like icebreakers at work when people start, or there are like these offsites and so on. And even outside I keep seeing things like where singles meet and friends meet, or make friends and all of that. And culturally too, I see that difference. Like, it's massive.
And are you kind of thinking, why do they need this? Because back home it's just everywhere all the time.
Yeah, it's a gift. I mean, it's of course some are healthy and not so healthy, but it's still there. Like, you've still got that safety net of love, and I've come to really appreciate that. And I think I gravitate, especially when I'm trying to date or look for a partner, I think I very much gravitate to someone that believes in those values of family and community, because I know that I would have just lost my mind so many occasions while I was working and getting through uni or whatever not, if I didn't have that safety net of love. It comes with its baggage, but it's quite unconditional.
So you really bed it down. I mean, you put love in the centre of your family, of Indian family values. Love is central.
Yeah, I think so.
It's not being in somebody else's life and getting involved in the gossip. It's kind of like it comes from a very deep sense of love.
I would say so. Yeah.
And also the way you talk about the icebreakers here, I'm assuming you can't help but be slightly judgmental. It's like, what have they lost that they need to create?
Quite literally, yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm a curious person, so I've also just realized, like, being too curious doesn't get you too far. Might take you a bit further back. Yeah. Sometimes the basics, fundamentals, family, and the right friends can go much further than a lot of these things you pay for to build.
They're not going to shut up next to us, are they? Do you mind if we just walk around the corner? Just because I can't. You understand it?
No, I think they're almost done.
Well,
Yeah.
it's interesting. There's a lot. I wonder what they're
long
doing.
have we
There's some
been
kind of tourist thing. Oh, we've been going for a while. You mentioned dating, finding a partner. Is that something that's in the forefront of your mind, or is that something you just want to keep ticking over and for it to happen at a certain point of time?
I want it to be as natural as possible, but it is, as I'm getting older, I suppose, and having to be serious about things, I'm realizing the importance of it, how we can enable a lot more with the right person around you, but I think it also makes you work on yourself, work on things in life with a bit more purpose. I think it's just an important thing, but I've been single for like 2 years. I've absolutely enjoyed being single and by myself, even gone like 6-7 months without even going on a date. I've loved those periods, and but now I suppose I am coming to a point where I'm thinking about it a bit more, but I wouldn't say going nuts about it.
Is your family involved in that process, or are you just doing it entirely on your own? I'm just thinking about
Oh.
whether the family that you come from, whether they are part of the process of finding a partner or not.
No, no, absolutely not. I mean, where I come from, even now, my cousins still get arranged marriages. My parents, I mean, they know. I think I've done a lot of work with them on gaining their independence and letting them know that I need to be making my decisions. So they quite respect.
So you've persuaded, not persuaded, but you've talked to your family about the fact that you're gonna lead this.
Yeah, they've met one of my girlfriends I used to date for a while, which is very unusual in my family in general, where they come from. And then I've had 2 relationships, so they've seen me through things, and I talked to my mom about it, about if I start seeing someone or how I feel about her and so on. So I really like her perspective, but they're not really involved in the decision making.
Does that make you an outlier, or does that just make you someone who's showing a new way? I'm just assuming that you doing this, if all your cousins get arranged marriages, that other people see you as unusual in that sense or not?
Like I said, my uncle broke the chain 30 years ago, right?
Right. So it takes one person to break the chain,
Exactly.
and then it becomes easier for everyone
Usually
afterwards.
it's like marriages back home are like the same caste and so on. So, but I mean, he did completely different nationality and completely different religion. So, and they've seen, that's given a template, I suppose. But a few of my cousins have had love marriages already, so I definitely wouldn't be an outlier.
We've spoken earlier on about how the fact that the agricultural world back home is going to be part of your future. What else is going to be part of your future? Do you see yourself being in New York, in Buenos Aires, travelling the world and carrying on this journey of an international life, or do you have an idea about what the next 10 years might bring for you?
The next 10 years, I want to maybe, like I said, I've been moving a lot. I want to ground myself here a bit while I explore the world. Right now, being in America, working on climate change might not be the best thing to do.
You'd be swimming against the tide, I believe.
It would be, it's hard enough already. No, I see myself in London, I think, for the next 10 years. But I want to keep it open.
And I'm assuming that, given the work that you deal with, you have to take life seriously, because it's a big subject you're dealing with, and one which is a problem, as in a bad problem for the world.
Yeah.
Does that enable you to be light-hearted about the future, to kind of forget it at any point, or are you quite locked into the fact that the world has got this big problem to deal with, and it's also part of your life?
I think you've made many connections to this work, to my past and all of it. So it does feel heavy at times, but I'm learning to actually detach a bit. Sometimes you can get so lost in this and that you don't appreciate what you have and the present. So I'm trying to detach a bit more, because again, it's millions or tens of millions of people coming together to solve this. I don't think I'm going to make that big a dent myself. That's how I try and detach. Do my bit and then enjoy life. Yeah.